Hey, we're Daniel and Bonnie.
And this is The Marriage Adventure. We like to say that marriage is an adventure. It's the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And we welcome the highs and all the mountaintops and the fun things that we walk through together, but we're rarely prepared for the lows. We recently had the opportunity to interview on our podcast some of our close friends from college, and they walked through something unimaginable, one of the worst losses, the loss of a child. And somehow, through God's grace, they came out on the other side and are still walking through it, but they're still walking through it together, and they're stronger. How does that happen? We talked to them to find out, how do you navigate such tremendous loss and come out better on the other side?
One thing they said was that loss for all of us in our life is inevitable. It might be the loss of a loved one. It might be the loss of a job. It might be loss of purpose. Heck, it might even be loss of hair. Who knows? We all mourn, we all grieve things differently. And they said that we made the decision that we knew we could either come out of this one of two ways. We can either come out of it bitter, we can come out of it angry, and we can come out of it upset at each other and that it could injure our marriage, or we had the option of leaning into each other and coming out of it stronger and coming out of it with a purpose and helping change lives. And that's what they ended up doing. And we have that decision to make when we're in the midst of our grief.
They also said that through that process, they knew that they were both going to grieve differently, and they did. Sometimes they would want to talk about it, and the other was not in a place to talk, so they had grace with each other, and they allowed the person to grieve the way they needed to grieve in that moment. But they made sure they came back together, and that they grieved together and not separately.
Yeah, since loss is inevitable in our life, as a married couple, what we have to do is we have to do the preemptive work. We have to do the day-to-day work before that ever happens, so that when something like that does happen, when tragedy does strike, when we hit the lows in our marriage, we have a firm foundation. It's still going to be unbelievably ridiculous hard to get through it, but yet we have a firm foundation and something to lean on to help us get through it, to help us survive and even thrive and have purpose on the other side of it.
They said that even through that loss, the foundation that they had, not just in their marriage, but their faith in the Lord and understanding who He is, that they had been building their entire lives, that foundation was solid, that foundation was firm, and it only came through the years that they had spent leaning into the Lord, embracing who He is, learning about Him, because He is who He says He is.
Well, talking about grief and thinking about grief and things that are come aren't fun, but it's vital for our marriage adventure to survive, that we handle it well even before it gets here. Well, thanks for joining us today. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.